Welcome to Trojans Live, the exclusive USC Trojans coaches show.
The pass to Howard off the backboard, and what a dunk by Julian Jacobs. Oh, what a play.
Behind the scenes insights and breaking news from head coaches Andy Enfield and Steve Sarkisian and the student athletes that play for the Cardinal and Gold.
Terrell bisecting the paint. Oh my goodness, a one-handed stuff.
Trojans Live is brought to you by
BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Visit SoCalBMW.com today to find a BMW center near you. By Valvoline, charge on, but visit Valvoline Instant Oil Change first. Home of the drive-through only change and proud sponsor of USC football. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for special discounts and offers. By Allstate Insurance, mayhem is everywhere. Start protecting yourself from mayhem with Allstate Insurance. By Western Exterminator, providing all-star termite and pest control you can trust for over 90 years. Western Exterminator, the final word in pest control.
Here now are Jordan Moore and John Jackson.
Hello and welcome to a special USC Spring Football edition of Trojans Live, presented by your Southern California BMW Centers on KFWB News Talk 980. We are live at the lab right across the street from Merle Norman Stadium, where USC Sand Volleyball, number 2 in the nation, just knocked off number 1 Pepperdine. So a great start to a great Trojan night. And we have a quarterback-heavy show lined up for you tonight, starting with legendary BYU QB Steve Sarkisian, who also happens to be the USC head coach, followed by his quarterback Cody Kessler. And later on, we'll welcome back Philadelphia Eagles quarterback Matt Barkley, plus LA Times beat writer Gary Klein. I guess he's the quarterback of the beat writers that cover USC. I'm Jordan Moore alongside John Jackson. JJ, on this quarterback show, who's the best quarterback you ever played for? I say 4 because you had to be nice to them if you ever won the ball.
Yeah, exactly. And I couldn't answer that question years ago. I'd have to, now I can say, it's hard. I mean, Rodney Pete was obviously my favorite. I caught a lot of balls with him here, and so I have a favorite of his. But Todd Marinovich never threw me into coverage, so he is my favorite by default.
The reason you're still talking today, at
exactly.
least. All right, this segment with the coach is brought to you by your Southern California BMW centers. Visit SoCalBMW.com today to find a BMW center near you. Let's bring in Coach Sark, who's got his Coach Sark Camp coming up, by the way, on April 12th, CoachSarkCamp.com. You can sign up there if you want to learn from the best. Coach, who's the best quarterback you've been around in your career? Guys you've played with, guys you've coached, you've been around a lot of them. Who stands out to you?
Am I allowed to say me? No.
It's your show. You can say whatever you want.
Every morning when I look in the mirror.
Oh, man. I don't think I can go there. I've been too fortunate to be around too many really, really good ones. And from my playing days to coaching here to going to Oakland and coaching a Rich Gannon and a Marcus Tuiasosopo, and then coming back here, all the guys we had here, and Jake Locker up there. I mean, there was just so many really good players, all different, though. That's what's unique about quarterbacks. They're never the same. Their personalities aren't the same. Their skill sets aren't the same. How they respond to some of the critical moments aren't the same. They're all so fascinating, but then they all can find success. The good ones can in their own way. And so I've just been fortunate to have an opportunity to be around some really good ones and to coach some really good ones and competitive guys that are not only good football players but good people. And that's all you can really ask for on a day-to-day basis.
Sark, the big talk, of course, with spring ball is the offense and the number of plays that you guys are running in practice. 120 is the rumor. Is that a correct rumor, by the way?
That's a correct rumor. I don't know if that's a rumor. That's a correct statement.
Okay.
What's really cool, JJ, is we actually go in the morning from 7 to 7:45 and have a walkthrough in the morning. And this morning's walkthrough ran 100 plays in that walkthrough, then came out in today's practice and ran just about 120 plays. So if for the players, you tally that up, that's 220 reps of football plays that they're getting, of repetition, of different looks. And it's challenging now, obviously, on them. It's challenging on them from the amount of offense we have, the amount of defense that we've installed defensively, and those two things coming together. But over time, those reps, as they add up together, should allow us to perform at a really high level. And so we're excited that we're getting all this done with the guys that are injured. We have 20 guys out right now for spring, but they're getting all those reps in the AM. Those 100 reps that we're getting, they're involved in that walkthrough, and it's just it's awesome for them. It's great for us.
And it's 120 in practice. By comparison, can you equate what it was the first time you were here with Pete about the approximate about the number of plays you'd run in practice?
Oh, I think it varies. Every day was different, and I think that we were probably hitting in the 70s to the 85 range, something like that. Some days were different. Scrimmage days, obviously, things like that. You can get more in, but all in all, our guys are working hard. Today was an interesting day. Our guys were just coming off spring break, and so one of the concerns was how were they going to respond having a week off, guys hanging out at the beach and doing all that. So
is there something called Cancun legs?
Well,
exactly.
The key, there was a key component to this. That's why we had the 3 days before spring break. So they got a taste of what practice was going to be like, just as a little friendly reminder when the guys were on spring break of what they could look forward to. And they responded great today. I really thought so. They responded really well. We had a couple guys that got a little fatigued, but for the most part, they responded really well.
I heard you make a comment about this the other day, and I thought it'd be great to elaborate on it, which is you talk about your offense and tempo, and you're trying to breathe that, you're trying to implement your system, but how does that also impact your defense, help your defense, since we've seen that in previous years where the offenses they face in games are very different than the one they're seeing in practice, now at least maybe prepared a little bit more for that no-huddle system?
That's a great point, and that's really half of the reason why we're doing what we're doing. The first half was I was watching teams going up tempo and thinking, gosh, this really looks easy for them. They're not getting a whole bunch of elaborate defenses. The quarterback's making good, quick decisions. So we said the tempo could help us offensively. We didn't become a spread team, but the tempo could help our plays based on the fronts and the coverage that we're getting. Conversely, you look at our schedule, we're probably going to play 10 of our 12 opponents roughly. Maybe 9 of the 12 are going to be no-huddle teams. Varying no-huddle teams, but no-huddle teams. So for them to get that exposure on a day-to-day basis so that their comfort level when a team goes no huddle, it's not a big deal to them anymore. So it works both ways for us. We really feel like it's a win-win. We've got a lot of work to do. We're 4 practices into this thing, but all in all, it's been a positive reaction, I think, from the players, the coaches, the staff, everybody involved.
Give us some insight to the quarterbacks. Cody Kessler, he's looked like Cody Kessler looks, but Max Brown come back, looked like he's been in the weight room, obviously, and bulked up a little bit. Give us a breakdown of how those two in the competition between them.
I think today, for the quarterback position in general, was our best day. I thought Cody is really starting to understand that not just the tempo in which we operate between plays, but how quickly we like the quarterback to react within the play, the anticipation of the play, the ability to recognize coverages and make really good, quick decisions because he's such an accurate thrower that when he gets the ball out on time with anticipation, it's hard for DBs to make plays on his ball. He's got great arm strength and a really quick release. Max, I think, is just maturing, physically. It's a kid who, he graduates high school early. He's here for a year. Here comes year 2. I think his body's maturing. I think mentally he's a lot more confident. And in turn, we're seeing his growth potential there. And Jalen Green, who's 4 practices into his college career today, probably had his best day. So that's what you like to see as a coach. We're not perfect yet by any means at any position, not at the quarterback position yet. But there is growth, and that's what you like to see. You like to see guys get better, work on the things that you want them to work on, try to apply them in practice, and then go back to the film and see what else we can work on.
Yeah, we look at some of the questions that are surround this team going into spring. You have a lot of challenges on this roster in terms of depth in cases where you're lacking depth, and we talk about tight end and you're trying to figure out offensive line. The opposite of that is the running back position. It almost seems to me more difficult for a coach. In the past, you've had this sort of one ball carrier. Washington, I believe you've had a 1,000-yard rusher in every year that you were up there. That's going to be hard this year unless everyone's running for 1,000 yards because you have so many different guys to go with. When are you able to figure that out, that position group?
Well, we're a long way from that,
Sure.
Game plan mode and all that. But what I will say is before going to Washington, I was accustomed to playing multiple backs. That was easy. That was what I was used to doing. We got put in a situation in Washington where we had to hand the ball to one guy, and those guys performed really well for us. Now being back and watching us practice and to hand the ball to Buck Allen, to hand it to Trey Madden, to hand it to Ty Isaac, to give Soma Vanuku carries today. When you're a run-first offense like we are and you're going to go out and practice and run 120 plays, when you're going to go into the season and your goal is to average over 80 plays a game and you're a run-first team, you start talking 45, 50 carries a game. Not one guy can do that. So
Sure.
We are at a luxury that we have a talented group of running backs, especially when we get Justin Davis back, that can carry that load for us, and I think will be great weapons for us down the road.
All right, we got one more segment coming up with the coach. You can tweet in your questions for Coach Sark using the hashtag Trojans Live. Tweet them in right now, hashtag Trojans Live. When we come back from the commercial break, we'll see if we can mix in some fan questions. You're listening to Trojans Live at the Lab on KFWB.
Adam Schultz is in at quarterback. It drops to pass. Throws into traffic and intercepted by Sua Cravens. 50, 40, 30, 25, 20. Steps inside at the 15, down to the 10.
At BMW, we're honored to have the 2014 3 Series named one of Car and Driver's 10 Best. The 3 Series is as thrilling today as it was when it first won the award back in 1992, and then again in 1993, and 1994, and the 20 times after that. BMW, the only luxury automotive brand to win Car and Driver's 10 Best 23 years in a row. We only make one thing, the ultimate driving machine.
Visit SoCalBMW.com today to find a Southern California BMW center near you.
Mayhem is everywhere.
I'm an over-enthusiastic football fan. We just beat one of the worst teams, but I'm walking out of the stadium celebrating like we just wrapped up a perfect season. I'm so blind with excitement, I don't notice when I step into traffic and you have to swerve to miss me. So get Allstate, where agents help keep you protected from mayhem, like me.
Start protecting yourself from mayhem. In Orange, call Allstate agent Henry Morales today.
Are you in good hands?
Trojan fans, each season the schedule is filled with pesky opponents looking to bring you down. But when that yellow truck and the little man with the hammer pulls up to your home or place of business to battle your bug opponent, insects and pests have no chance. For over 90 years, Western Exterminator has been in the trenches, dominating every matchup and every battle of the bug, which is why true Trojan fans know that Western Exterminator is the final word in pest control.
AT&T covers 99% of all Americans, so you can access the things that are important to you almost anywhere. Receive important PDFs in Portland, or view important projections in Peoria. AT&T nationwide coverage also lets you download important videos of animals water skiing in San Antonio, or play important games in Greenville. The point being, AT&T has you along with 99% of all Americans covered. AT&T, rethink possible. AT&T reminds you to never text and drive. It can wait.
Claim based on coverage in U.S. license and roaming areas. Compatible device required. Coverage not available everywhere.
Misdirection handoff, big hole for Allen. 15, 10, 5. Buck Allen is in the end zone again for USC, his third touchdown of the night.
Tonight's highlights are courtesy of 710 ESPN as you're listening to KFW News Talk 980. Back on Trojans Live, Jordan Moore, John Jackson, and a second segment with the head coach, Steve Sarkisian. Coach, talking about all the great on-the-field stuff and spring ball. This is also sort of your opportunity to meet these guys, build relationships, build this team, bond everyone. How's that part of it going? Are leaders emerging? What's your team chemistry shaping up like?
Well, I think it's been great. We have a couple really natural leaders on the team. I think Hayes Pillard is just stands out to me as kind of almost the epitome of what you're looking for in a Trojan. A senior middle linebacker chooses to come back for a senior year, probably could have left early, all-conference player. Hey, Hayes has been tremendous. Cody's been unbelievable for us. Max Turek, Chad Wheeler, Antoine Woods, in my opinion, is a guy who everyone tells me has matured so much. I only know him from how I've seen him. He's been great. Josh Shaw. So all in all, I think this is a very mature team. We went a little philosophical with them today in the team meeting and started talking about, who we are and what we're going to be about and how that plays out on a day-to-day basis and the winning formula and all those things. So for me, I'm excited about continuing to grow with them. I'm starting to learn them as people, some of the personalities, and now it's getting to digging into the team aspect of it and who we're going to become as a team and what our mantras are and things of that nature. And so that part's been great.
From a fan perspective, we've seen Aguilar. He's been great. We've seen Rogers. He was good last year. Even Blackwell's starting to have a good spring. But, how about some of the guys? This is the guys that are sort of anticipating. Steve Mitchell and George Farmer.
Right.
How are they progressing? Where are they at? And will they be – I know they're not there yet, but how long until they're 100%?
Well, I think George, quite honestly, is probably a little bit further along than Steven at this point. George had an excellent practice today. Now that you mention him, I think that he made some real plays for us. He's a strong, physical, fast guy that when he's in one-on-one settings can make his plays. Steven, I'm really excited about him in the slot and doing some of those things in there, and we're going to need those guys. I think that we need that versatility at the wide receiver position to go along with the guys you just mentioned and some of the young kids coming in. But I think George is really progressing well. He's getting confident. And Steven, we just want to make sure when we go to fall camp, both these guys are 100% healthy because we're going to need them when the season rolls around.
All right, let's see if we can bring in one from Twitter here. Gregory Kim wants to know, with your close connection with Pete Carroll, will the defense be influenced by what the Seahawks are doing up in Seattle?
Well, oddly enough, because of our time in Seattle the last few years together, my relationship with Pete, Justin Wilcox's relationship with Pete and Dan Quinn and Rocky Seto and those guys up there, Ken Norton, there are some techniques and similarities and things that'll look very similar. There's going to be other aspects that are going to be very different. We play in college football, it's a little bit of a different game than the NFL. The hash marks are different. Some of the zone read, the quarterback run game, some of those things are different. But there is a lot of carryover as well. And so we're fortunate to have Pete and that staff as a resource. They do a great job. And, we'll continue to try to utilize it as best we can.
I took a look at practice on the defensive side, and I said, okay, we're going to watch a USC defense. Then I saw a whole different defense, the SEC defense, as we talked about. You talk about those guys up front because this is a big athletic group that you got.
It really is. I love our defensive front. Right now we're playing obviously without Leonard Williams, but you start talking about Antoine Woods in the center, which we touched on, Delvon Simmons, Claude Pellin, Kenny Bigelow now coming back. You throw in the mix J.R. Tavai, Scott Starr. I mean, it is a big physical group of guys up front. And then a group of athletic linebackers that can play behind them that allow them to play in space. You start talking about Hayes, Anthony Sorrow, Quentin Powell, Jabari Ruffin when we get Lamar back. So I love our front, and then I like the fact that our secondary is slowly starting to mature, which is going to be key for us.
Yeah, your secondary is maturing, and you have sort of a lot of interesting pieces back there, guys that can move around a lot. And then Josh Shaw, who's just watching spring practice, at least for now, who we know is the most versatile piece back there. You trying to figure out those positions now in spring, or you wait till fall to figure out how that's going to sort itself out?
I think it's sorting pretty good. Josh is really the wild card because he could play safety, he could play corner, he could play nickel. I think we have a pretty good idea of a Kevon Seymour, of a Chris Hawkins, obviously a Leon McQuay, a Sua Cravens and what they're all about. And then Gerald Bowman is working his way back into this thing. So when we get Josh back, that's a real bonus for us. And it does provide us a great deal of versatility, which, like I said, in our conference, you have to have because week in and week out, it's Arizona, then it's Arizona State, then it's Stanford, then it's Cal throwing it 75 times a game, then it's UCLA. So you have to have the versatile moving parts on defense to be able to play 3-4 odd front defense, to be play 4 down over front defense, to play base defense, to play nickel defense, to play dime defense, to play man-to-man, to play zone. You have to have all those things to be effective in our conference against the multitude of offenses that we get.
Sark, we're running a little bit short on time, but I got to ask this about Josh Shaw. Okay, you say he's the wild card. He's on record saying he's playing corner. Now, from the outside looking in, I thought he was coming back for a senior year to play safety. Is that not true? I mean, what do you think?
Well, it's gonna vary on the strengths of our team and how these other young players develop. I do know we have some big physical wide receivers in this conference that you'd love Josh Shaw to line up against. Jalen Strong is a guy that jumps out at me at Arizona State. The Austin kid coming back at University of Arizona who's coming off the injury. So you're going to want him there then. There's going to be other games where we might want to match him up in the slot as a nickel against the guy's best player. There may be games when we're playing a Stanford type, a ground and pound type team where he might be most beneficial for us at safety, defending tight ends on vertical routes. So that's the strength of Josh Shaw, is how versatile he is, how bright he is, he studies the game, and really just how mature he is and how he approaches the game of football.
All right, spring practice continues this week up until the spring game. That's April 19 at 3 p.m. at the Coliseum. Get your tickets at GetTrojanTix.com. Practices are open, so come on down Howard Jones Field on Tuesdays and Thursday nights, and Saturdays at the Coliseum starting this Saturday, 11 a.m. Tonight's tweet was brought to you by Allstate Insurance. Football players rely on lots of coaches, quarterbacks, running backs, and special teams, just to name a few. But for insurance, you only need one coach, an Allstate agent. They'll help you with your insurance game plan. Call L.A. area Allstate agent Adrian Fredericks or Four Corners Insurance Services today. That's Coach Sark. His QB Cody Kessler is coming up next on Trojans Live. Stay tuned.
It's the final days of the Ford Trade-In event. Your chance to trade in what's not and trade up to what's hot. It starts with 0% APR financing for 72 months. Plus, you'll get an extra $1,000 trade assist cash on 13 Fiesta, Focus, Fusion, Flex, and even a C-Max Hybrid. Get an extra $1,500 plus 0% for 72 months on 13 Edge, or 0% for 60 months, plus $2,500 on the 13 F-150. Don't miss this chance to trade up to Ford. Get here by March 31st. 0% plus trade assist cash. Don't miss it.
Offers on select 13 models exclude Fiesta and Focus S, SDX, and Raptor. For factory trade assist cash, must trade in 1995 or newer vehicle to qualify. Not all buyers qualify for Ford Credit 0% APR financing for 72 months at $1,388 or 60 months on F-150 at $1,667 per month per $1,000 finance regardless of down payment. Take new retail delivery by 3/31/14. See dealer for details.
The following is a paid commercial message.
Bob McCormick here with Terry Williams, Chief Operating Officer of One United Bank. You know, we've talked a lot about how you can build credit with a secured card. Terry, tell us about the Unity Visa secured card.
It is a secured card that helps people rebuild their credit. We provide a credit card and provide them information on how they can rebuild their credit.
A debit card, while very popular with many consumers, does not help build your credit score.
You're absolutely right. In fact, that's one of the reasons we introduced the Unity Visa card, because people are carrying these debit cards and they charge a lot of fees and they can't help you rebuild your credit. With the Unity Visa card, we report to the 3 major credit bureaus, so we can help you.
So it's for people starting out, students, as well as adults whose credit may have been damaged and they need to rebuild.
Absolutely.
To find out more information, you can go to oneunited.com or dial 877-1-UNITED. That's 877-663-8648. Member FDIC. Thanks, Terry.
Thanks for having me, Bob.
Aguilar in short motion. Look out. Kessler winds, throws. Aguilar wide open. He's got it. Touchdown, USC!
That's Cody Kessler delivering a dime last season, and he joins us now on Trojans Live. Jordan Moore, John Jackson joined the quarterback. Threw for, just missed 3,000 yards last year. 29, 68, 65% completions, 20 touchdowns, 7 INTs. Staying with stats, you got off to, just look at that TD interception ratio, which seems to just be always the defining stat these days. You got off to a slow start, 6 touchdowns, 4 picks. Then you really hit your stride last year, and it obviously started after that Arizona State game, which is the clear break in the season. New coach, system changed a little bit. What clicked for you after that, where you finished the season 14 touchdowns, 3 picks?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me was just gaining confidence, and having those 6 games or 5 games, whatever it was, under my belt. And all the stuff that went on, and guys looked at me as the leader, being the quarterback, and I had to step into that role and I had to perform. And I think I learned a lot of things early in the season that helped me carry that into the second half of the season. And like you said, the team got a whole new, just momentum. Everything just felt so much better, and it was a lot more fun for us. And I took it upon myself to keep that thing going and lead these guys through it.
You had your first year as a starter last year. Now you come back to a new offense, and I have to imagine the most, challenging thing is it's 120 plays in practice. How does that change life for you as a quarterback?
Yeah, I just have to be a lot less vocal in the sense of the way I was before, wanting to yell at guys, get guys going, or make them do the right thing. In this offense, you can't do that.
Time for
and
that.
That's something that I've learned. But, I like it like that. You're going, and it's been, you can see it at practice. A lot of guys on defense are starting to get winded, and they're having to rotate a lot more and substitute guys in. And I can see that's going to happen in games. And I love the offense. It's been great. It's a lot of the same stuff we've done before, a lot of the same concepts, but different names on them, different ways of running them, and obviously a lot quicker pace.
Now take me back a little bit. You ran a similar offense in high school, right? Mm-hmm. That you guys went no huddle. Any similarities between what you did in high school versus what you're doing now?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think when you run the spread offense, a lot of guys learn, especially in high school, a lot of our coaches got it from college offenses. College guys run it in the NFL even now, starting to go into that system. And I've talked to Matt a lot about it at Philadelphia, and he's helped me out with, what to learn from it, how to run the offense, and what to expect. But yeah, there's a lot of similarities for me from when I was at Centennial to now at SC running this offense. So it's been an easy transition.
Physically, it seems harder in terms of, it's sort of more of a cardio workout. You talked about that right after the first practice. Mentally, though, is it easier? Is it more simplified? I would assume it would have to be a little bit given the pace that you have to execute everything at.
Yeah, I think the easiest thing for me in the sense of this, or as an offense, as a unit, is that we don't get as many looks defensively as we would before. When you have a fast-paced offense, defenses can't hide coverages or run. They have to line up in what they're going to be in and go right away. Normally in college football, when you have an actual offense, slow pace, guys will line up, in certain coverages and rotate around before the snap of the ball, which sometimes makes it harder to read. But with this offense, we're going, and these guys have to line up, get set, and a lot of the times you see defenses not line up right. They have missed assignments or blown plays, and we take advantage of them.
Now, Sark obviously had been here before and, ran an offense, and now it appears to be completely different. But how much similarities carry over from what you guys did a year ago to what you're doing now? How much does that carry over, if at all?
Yeah, I mean, it has. And like I said, a lot of the same stuff is being ran right now. A lot of the same concepts, but it's just different names. In the pass game, that is. Run game's a lot different. Still some of the same schemes, but all over the country, no matter where you go, there's a lot of stuff that people rub off, the same names for same plays, same schemes, same concepts, stuff like that. But, like Coach Sarkisian was here with Coach Carroll, and he learned, the offense from him and a lot of the things. And Coach Sark has taken what SC offense used to be now and just put it as fast-paced, up-tempo. We're going to come at you no matter what. And guys have really bought into it, and it's looking good.
The quarterback room is different from last season. It was always you and Max Whittick. You came in together. You never stopped competing. I mean, you were back and forth. Who was the starter? Who was the backup? All that stuff. How different is that quarterback room now without him? And now you got a different Max that's nipping at your heels in Max Brown.
Yeah, and I just want to say, Max Whittick was a great guy. Great quarterback, and I wish him the best. And we never had, a bitter relationship. It was never like that. The year he beat me out, and then we went back and forth, and I beat him out. It was never like, we lost contact, we weren't friends, anything like that. It's competition, it's a business, and, we took it as such. And, I wish him the best no matter where he goes, wherever he ends up. But, yeah, like you said, Max Brown's a great quarterback too, and I like it like that. I've always been like that ever since growing up, competing against someone else, and I'd rather it be like that than something handed to me, and I take it as that. But like I said before, I'm not just focused on that competition like I've done before. Now have a year under my belt as a starter. I'm focusing on competing against guys across the country, wanting to be an elite quarterback and be seen in that top group of quarterbacks, that are being recognized, across the nation. And that's the way I approach every practice. Instead of just focusing on, all right, this competition right here, I need to do better than this guy on this play. I'm taking it as, I want to be one of the top quarterbacks in the country.
Cody, I always said that quarterbacks are smart. You're obviously a smart quarterback, but now I can anoint you the smartest guy in the room because your roommates are Aguilar and Turk. Yeah. Okay, so you got you got the receiver and the offensive tackle is your room, or offensive lineman is your roommate. Talk about that relationship with the guys because you rely on them so much.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. And especially now Turk's playing center, so we've been getting snaps together, and those guys are my closest friends here. And we're roommates, teammates, and those guys really are my brothers, and that's the way we've handled it. And it's awesome to have that connection, off the field. And the best part was, we would win a game or a home game or have a game and come back, and we'd sit in the living room. If we had a night game till like 4 a.m. just talking about the game and all this stuff, and it's nice having Nelson there, so I don't have to go try to find guys to throw to. We can wake up and walk across the hall and be like, hey, let's go throw. But yeah, I mean, they're great guys, and I'm very blessed to have them as teammates and roommates and guys like that to surround myself with, especially going into this season.
Well, we're looking forward to it. Big season ahead, maybe for Cody Kessler running this new high-octane offense, going no huddle. Won't see him huddle up, but you'll see him go up and down the Coliseum field this season. Try Subway Restaurant's tuna collection. Choose from the classic tuna, the tuna melted, the spicy tuna. Dive in today. Subway, eat fresh for limited time only. Coming up, we're just going to stay right on the same theme, talking spring football, and the insider knows it best. Gary Klein from the LA Times, next on Trojans Live.
Mayhem is everywhere.
I'm the football your buddy fired through your windshield. The cooler that tumbled out of a pickup and onto the hood of your car. If you're a football fan, Eventually, we're gonna meet. So get Allstate. Our agents help keep you protected from mayhem. Like me.
Are you in good hands?
Start protecting yourself from mayhem. In Laguna Beach, call Allstate agent Cheryl Binns today. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability.
Valvoline Instant Oil Change is the home of the drive-through oil change. They understand you're busy and have a lot to get done in a day. You're a Trojan and have places to be. That is why at Valvoline Instant Oil Change, you drive in, not even getting out of your car, and drive out in about 15 minutes. As a proud sponsor of USC football, Valvoline Instant Oil Change would like to give a special deal to all the Trojan fans in Southern California. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for special offers and discounts. That's SoCalOilChange.com.
You'll always find fresh values at Subway, where this March, we've got two favorites as our featured values. The much-loved meatball marinara continues as our featured $5 footlong. Try it with peppers and melty mozzarella along with our signature marinara sauce. And don't miss the better-for-you Black Forest ham, our $3 6-inch select. On freshly baked bread with your choice of veggies like crunchy cucumbers. Get them both all month long as our March featured values. Subway. Eat fresh.
Limited time only plus tax prices and participation may vary. Prices higher, no less than Hawaii. Additional charge for regulars.
Trojan fans, each season the schedule is filled with pesky opponents looking to bring you down. But when that yellow truck and the little man with the hammer pulls up to your home or place of business to battle your bug opponent, insects and pests have no chance. For over 90 years, Western Exterminator has been in the trenches, dominating every matchup and every battle of the bug, which is why true Trojan fans know that Western Exterminator is the final word in pest control.
The BMW 3 Series diesel gets up to 45 highway miles per gallon and 675 miles per tank. That means you can hit the beach from New York, Miami Beach in 2 tanks, or go from LA to Vegas and get back in 1 tank. BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Numbers based on preliminary BMW results for a highway fuel economy value of 45 mpg for the 328D sedan and a fuel tank capacity of 15 gallons. Actual results may change as a result of EPA testing.
Visit SoCalBMW.com today to find a Southern California BMW center near you.
Back on Trojans Live, I'm here with the man in the know, Gary Klein from the LA Times, alongside John Jackson. I'm Jordan Moore, and Gary is right off the field from practice. Any breaking news for us?
No, they made it through another 120 play practice. They looked pretty tired by the end of it.
What is your biggest storyline as you go into this first spring ball under Steve Sarkisian?
Well, I think just assessing, how, if at all, it's going to be different. And I think it was obvious from the start, just in terms of the pace that the offense is playing at and that the defense is being forced to deal with, that's going to be different. So I think just watching that evolve and see how the players adjust to that pace is kind of the main thing.
Give me a little bit of breakdown of the atmosphere of practice because, back in Pete's days, it was high energy, rah-rah. Lane, of course, simmered down tremendously. Coach Owett raised back up. What is Sark?
John, I've got to be honest with you. I don't think it's been all that much different throughout. I mean, when Carroll was here, there was an energy in that practice facility because there were so many people and the players were crossing. They had to watch out for reporters and fans as they crossed through the end zone. I think because Lane Kiffin was from the coaching tree, Sark's from the same coaching tree, the pace of those practices, the energy in there is not that much different. Now, the attitude of the players might be, but in terms of the actual, how fast they're getting from station to station and what they're doing, I haven't denoted that it's all that much different. But certainly in these first few practices with Sarkisian, the pace of the offense is much, much faster.
Yeah, this offense is a big story, and people are making a story out of the quarterbacks. In your eyes, though, is there really a quarterback battle?
Well, I just looked at what happened last year. Cody Kessler played 14 games, started 14 games. They won 10. He played very, very well against Stanford. He played very, very well in the bowl game against Fresno State. So I just look at experience in terms of comfort out there on the field, and that's going to be, very, very, very hard to replace. I understand why Steve Sarkisian and any coach would say, there's a competition, because there should be. But I think it would be an extreme long shot for Max Brown to displace Cody Kessler.
Yeah, we had Sark on a little bit earlier, and he talked about the depth at running back and how it makes his job a little bit easier this year, having so many guys. How do you think that ultimately plays out? Because a year ago he was in a single back system.
Well, I think what's going to be really interesting with the running backs is last year, it didn't work out well in the sense that guys got hurt. That's never good. But USC didn't have an issue with people complaining about playing time because every time someone started doing well, they got hurt. And I think it's going to be really interesting this year because now you have guys that have proven themselves and are very eager to play. And we saw at Washington, Bishop Sankey was the guy. They didn't rotate 3 or 4 backs in there. So it'll be interesting to see how Sarkisian and Johnny Nance and what kind of rotation, if any, they come up with, and how those players respond to what happens.
We talk about Sarkisian, and you have a pulse of the fans. I got the sense that when the hiring went down, there was so much emotion with Coach O not getting the job, and then Sarkisian, just a guy coming back, was sort of lukewarm. The sense I've got is that things have changed since signing day, that was an important moment for him to change the momentum, and it's more positive now. Do you get that sense, or you still feel like the fans are wait and see?
I still think it's wait and see. I think from the fans' perspective. Yeah. I think the signing day, flourish definitely helped alleviate some of the anxiety, and I think the fact that time has passed. Ed Ogeron is not here. That's people have moved on. They're looking ahead. But I think, like any new coaching staff, there's a wait and see, not just from writers like myself, but from the fan base that is excited. They want USC to do well, but I think there definitely is going to wait and see what happens.
Gary, I know we're early into spring ball, and the good players, Sark has said, are playing good. All the household names. Are there any under-the-radar guys that you can sort of see coming on that might make a huge impression the fans might not know about?
I think, John, the defensive linemen, even though Leonard Williams has not been practicing, didn't practice today, he did in the first week, but they're going to nurse him to fall camp. I think Kenny Bigelow, Delvin Simmons, Claude Pellon, JC transfer, those guys, no one really has seen play or knows about, and I think they're the guys that are going to be really tested, here in the spring. Scott Starr, another guy that people were excited about and had some injury problems, but seems to be going kind of at full speed out there. So I think defensively, those are some of the guys. And on offense, a guy like Darius Rogers really, didn't grab a lot of headlines, but just got better and better and better last year. And I think, the focus this year is going to be on Nelson Aguilar and what's going to happen with George Farmer and Stephen Mitchell. Meanwhile, Darius Rogers just seems to continue, to evolve into a really terrific receiver. So we'll see if he can step it up.
That's the wrap from Gary Klein. You can catch his act, of course, at LA Times, LATimes.com, and on Twitter it's at LA Times Klein. When we come back, we'll get JJ's breakdown as we keep pushing spring football. That big spring game coming up April 19th at the Coliseum. You're listening to Trojans Live.
Bill and Kathleen from American Vision Windows and Solar, the #1 window replacement company in California.
When Bill and I started American Vision Windows 13 years ago, we never dreamed of becoming #1. We just wanted our customers to have a better experience than we did.
We set out to revolutionize the home improvement industry one customer at a time by offering the highest quality products, expert installation, and unmatched customer service.
Bill and I want to extend a special thank you to our team for their hard work and dedication, but most of all to you, our customer.
Thank you for making American Vision Windows the #1 company in California. We look forward to the opportunity to serve you.
Call American Vision Windows now and receive free expert installation. Plus, for a limited time, they'll pay the tax on your windows. 888-351-4242, 888-351-4242.
Revolutionizing the home improvement industry one customer at a time. American Vision Windows and Solar.
Call now to receive free expert installation. Plus, American Vision will pay the tax on your windows. 888-351-4242. TSLB number 778326.
AT&T covers 99% of all Americans, so you can access the things that are important to you almost anywhere. Receive important important PDFs in Portland or view important projections in Peoria. AT&T nationwide coverage also lets you download important videos of animals water skiing in San Antonio or play important games in Greenville. The point being, AT&T has you along with 99% of all Americans covered. AT&T. Rethink possible. AT&T reminds you to never text and drive. It can wait.
Claim based on coverage in U.S. license and roaming areas. Compatible device required. Coverage not available everywhere.
It's the final days of the Ford Trade-In event. Your chance to trade in what's not and trade up to what's hot. It starts with 0% APR financing for 72 months. Plus, you'll get an extra $1,000 trade assist cash on 13 Fiesta, Focus, Fusion, Flex, and even the C-Max Hybrid. Get an extra $1,500 plus 0% for 72 months on 13-inch, or 0% for 60 months, plus $2,500 on the 13 F-150. Don't miss this chance to trade up to Ford. Get here by March 31st. 0% plus trade assist cash. Don't miss it.
Offers on select 13 models exclude Fiesta and Focus S, SDX, and Raptor. For factory trade assist cash, must trade in 1995 or newer vehicle to qualify. Not all buyers qualify for Ford Credit 0% APR financing for 72 months at $1,388 or 60 months on F-150 at $1,667 per month per $1,000 finance regardless of down payment. Take new retail delivery by 3/31/14. See dealer for details.
Back at the lab, it's Trojans Live on KFWB. Time for the scouting report with John Jackson. Game on. Make your move today to the Lorenzo, the most talked about apartment community at the University of Southern California. Brand new upscale student living is waiting for you. Hurry. Spaces are going fast. Don't miss out. Immediate occupancy. Visit thelorenzo.com or call 213-863-4307. I like the way Gary Klein calls you John. I think I'm just going to start doing that. He is not doing the JJ. JJ wouldn't print in the LA Times, so he calls you John exclusively. So, John, I'm wondering what do you have your eye on this spring?
You know, it makes me feel like not answering because I'm not used to being called by my name.
Mr. Jackson.
I'm sorry, the question, Jordan?
Well, what do you have your eye on as we get going with spring football here?
Well, I think the thing for me coming in was the center position. And, of course, you know, Sark mentioned it, or Cody Kipp mentioned it, Max Turk is now playing center, which really solidifies that spot. And, you know, hopefully he'll evolve like, you know, some of the other centers. I mean, the Trojan centers have had great success in the NFL, and that was a huge piece that has to be solved. And I think that Sark knows it. I think that Max Turk knows it as well. And so to have him there, you're putting your best offensive lineman at that center spot. That's key.
But this is a really interesting point, though, and I think Gary I actually talked about this when we were on the practice field a couple weeks ago. You knew Max Turk was going to move, right? He was at left guard last year next to Chad Wheeler. You knew he was going to be the one to move because he has the versatility and he's the most talented offensive lineman after maybe Wheeler, or maybe he's more talented than Wheeler. So the question was, where's it going, center or right tackle? Because you have a potential hold right tackle right now. If you come out to spring practice, it's Nathan Gertler, who's technically a walk-on but has played some, and then Zach Banner, who's coming back from a bunch of injuries and has not played. And they chose center instead of right tackle. What does that tell you? Does it tell you something maybe about this offense?
Well, I think it also tells you, the importance of that spot. And we saw that spot get exposed against Stanford a couple years ago, so it's a critical spot. If you're not good at center, you're in trouble no matter what. You can teach guys to play other spots. That center position, what also Max brings to it is the experience. Because remember, that center is the quarterback of the offensive line, has to make all the calls, has to understand defenses, what teams have done in the past. Nobody has the experience and the know-how that Max Turk does. So some of it will be an easy shift for him, because he understands what other teams are doing. Where if you throw a new guy in there, I mean, everything is new, including the opponents the Trojans are going to face in the fall.
You know, Sark's never going to answer the question now, and he may never have to. It might work itself out again, as Gary talked about with the running back position. But you've seen all four guys, assuming they're all healthy, come fall. And who do you think is the best running back on this roster?
That's a tough one. I mean, because, you know, when they're healthy and good, they're real good. Justin Davis was real good, and Buck Allen has shown that he is real good. I think that right now, if you had to pick one today, I probably would lean towards Buck. Just from things he's able to do, and he's sort of surprising. I think he has that extra gear in terms of breakaway speed. But Justin Allen makes moves in tight territory, and Trey Madden's a power back. So I think that and Ty Isaac as well. So I think that what Sark has as his benefit is whatever style he wants to play, he can play that style. Those guys, although they're all running backs, they all have different styles. That's one of the benefits that Sark has with all of them. But if I had to pick the best all-around guy right now, I still say it's Buck.
And now you look at the secondary, and he talked about Josh Shaw. Where's he going to go? He's that little flex. He's the flex piece. Maybe he ends up playing both as he did last year. Where do you see Josh Shaw as the best fit in this defense, assuming people stay healthy?
Well, I think at corner. And that's why I was surprised, because I personally thought he was coming back to USC to play safety. But I think he's best fit for corner. And the reason why is a defense, when you're scheming, if you have a guy that can shut down one guy, as a defense, it gives you the feel like you're only playing against half the field, because you know that he has that side shut down as he did several times last year. So if there's a spot for him, I think corner is it. He can be most effective there and impact the game the most.
Biggest difference there are a lot of differences between this year and last year, but one of the biggest differences, all the sort of stud freshmen showed up in the spring last year. You had Sua Cravens come in, you had Max Brown come in, so you sort of knew what you had in terms of the freshman class. This group's really all coming in the fall. I mean, you have a couple linemen that showed up here in the spring, but the Adoree Jacksons, Juju Smiths, Damian Mamas, the guys that we think, hey, maybe they'll compete right away, they're coming in the fall. How does that change the dynamic? As we look at it, we don't even know where Adoree's playing, but we got a pretty good sense he's going to be on the field. Same with Juju. So how does that change the dynamic as you look at some of these positions?
If I'm Coach Stark, right now I have to come up with a starting 22. I can't worry about the guys in the fall. They're just sort of welcome additions. And you have to sort of have them play their way into shape. All these guys that you just mentioned are going to be great players. The problem is you come from high school to college, and I mean it's like going from, driving the surface streets to the freeway. I mean there's just no way to compare the speed that you're going to have to deal with, and you don't know how guys are going to react or when they're going to be able to adapt to it. I did not have the benefit of making that adjustment very fast. It took me a redshirt year to finally figure it out. Some of these guys may be able to pull it off quickly, as we've seen in the past, but overall, it's a very tough transition. Sark has to go at it as if these guys are not going to make this transition, and anybody that does, that'll just be good news.
Overall, you getting a good feeling? Where's your feeling at as we're 158 days away from kickoff?
I'm getting a real good feeling because I love the fact that they're running, like he said, 220 plays. I mean, that means that your offense is going to know what they're doing. There's not going to be missed assignments. There's not going to be, going back and we only can limit the offense to, 75% of the offense or any of those types of things. So I like the fact that he's running a lot of plays. I like the fact that they're installing the offense. I love the fact that they play the up-tempo because, just like Cody mentioned and Sark mentioned, it forces defense to adjust and takes away some of the things that they can do against you. So that part of it I love about spring ball. I think that he's going about it the right way and he's making the relationships he needs to. I think I'm excited. The thing I wonder is if you're running that many plays in the game, do you have enough players to do it? And that's what we're going to have to wait and see.
Well, I'm excited for our next guest. We're welcoming back big-time quarterback here. Matt Barkley, the legend, will be joining us on the phone when we come back on Trojans Live at the Lab.
It's the final days of the Ford Trade-In event. Your chance to trade in what's not and trade up to what's hot. It starts with 0% APR financing for 72 months. Plus, you'll get an extra $1,000 trade assist cash on 13 Fiesta, Focus, Fusion, Flex, and even the C-Max Hybrid. Get an extra $1,500 plus 0% for 72 months on 13-inch, or 0% for 60 months, plus $2,500 on the 13 F-150. Don't miss this chance to trade up to Ford. Get here by March 31st. 0% plus trade assist cash. Don't miss it.
Offers on select 13 models exclude Fiesta and Focus S, SDX, and Raptor. For factory trade assist cash, must trade in 1995 or newer vehicle to qualify. Not all buyers qualify for Ford Credit 0% APR financing for 72 months at $1,388 or 60 months on F-150 at $1,667 per month per 1,000 finance regardless of down payment. Take new retail delivery by 3/31/14. See dealer for details.
Continental Tire is driving performance for you. Whether driving to the game, dropping the kids off at practice, or commuting to work, Continental makes the right tire for your vehicle. Our tires are designed with Eco Plus technology to deliver shorter stopping distances on wet roads and tremendous long wear. Plus, improved fuel efficiency that can actually save you money over the life of the tire. Visit ContinentalTire.com to find out how much money you can save or to find a retailer near you. Continental Tire, exclusive tire of the Trojans.
Trojan fans, each season the schedule is filled with pesky opponents looking to bring you down. But when that yellow truck and the little man with the hammer pulls up to your home or place of business to battle your bug opponent, insects and pests have no chance. For over 90 years, Western Exterminator has been in the trenches, dominating every matchup and every battle of the bug, which is why true Trojan fans know that Western Exterminator is the final word in pest control.
Back on Trojans Live, Jordan Moore, John Jackson, and we are happy to welcome back a familiar voice, the all-time Pac-12 touchdown leader. It's Matt Barkley. Matt, how's life in the NFL treating you, bud?
I'm doing great, enjoying this off-season back in California in the warm sunshine. I'll tell you that. It's pretty nice.
That's what I wanted to ask you. How's the snow in Philadelphia? How was that to get used to?
It was definitely a different experience. We had a great time this fall, though, in Philadelphia. Just being on our own. I got married last July, so my wife and I were kind of on a new adventure together. But we had a blast adjusting to life on the East Coast and being with the NFL team.
Yeah, congratulations on the marriage. One of the things that interested me, I mean, everyone, the moment you were drafted by the Eagles, everyone went immediately, wait, Chip Kelly, Matt Barkley, how does that work? And you got to see him, and he got to see you in college from a distance. What don't we know? What have you learned about being up close and personal, with Chip Kelly and this offense now for a year?
Well, Chip Kelly's a great innovator, and he's always trying to do something new, trying to gain an edge. And just because he runs, the spread-style offense doesn't mean he learns from pro-style systems or from everyone else in the league. And so I think he's learned how to utilize players of all different abilities, sizes and whatnot. And I think that's why he drafted me, because he saw that, what I'm capable of when we played against Oregon and what I did, to his defense. And so I know he believes in me, and it's cool to be a part of a team that is always trying to, challenge themselves, and he's always pushing us to learn something new.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because there was a story that came out in the last couple of days that it sounds like Mark Sanchez is going to be joining you in Philadelphia, and I guess somebody put out the stat that all three of you, Nick Foles, you, and Mark, all lit up Oregon when you were in college. So maybe there is something to that. Have you had a chance to speak with Mark? What do you think about potentially competing with him, the guy you took over for here at SC?
I have not spoken with Mark yet. I'm planning on talking to him pretty soon. I did talk to Coach Kelly recently, though, and he was talking about the competition, kind of like what you want to hear from a coach, how it's going to be a great opportunity for us all to get better as quarterbacks. And so I'm excited for this opportunity to never thought I'd really be teaching Mark in offense, but it's glad to have another Trojan on the team. It'll be just us two, and I think it'll be a good addition to our quarterback room.
Matt, help me with the timing, because I think that by the time you got here, Sark was already gone, correct?
That's right. I committed to come into January in spring ball as an early admit, and Coach Sark took the Washington job, I think, in December, and then left by January. So he was gone before I got there, but he did recruit me my whole senior year of high school. So I talked to him almost every week during the season.
And what are your impressions of him just as a coach, like from, the limited amount of experience you have in knowing him?
I think he's a great coach. I think he's going to fire up the USC community. I think he's going to do a great job of kind of igniting a spark again with our team. And he's another coach who is innovative as well and always looking to get an edge. And I think the players are definitely excited. Just from what I hear, talking to some of my former teammates, kind of the morale has changed, and they're looking forward to almost a new beginning.
What was it like watching last year from afar, and your thoughts too? We talked to Cody earlier. He says he's been talking to you all the time and stays in contact with you. What was your thoughts on number 6 taking over for number 7?
Yeah, we do stay in touch, and I think it's important to have a relationship both with guys older than you who you can look up to and guys who are younger than you who you've been in their shoes before, and so you can help them in any way possible. And that's kind of just my mindset of trying to help Cody, of learning the ups and downs of the season, of handling a huddle and all that. And it looks like there won't be much of a huddle this year, but learning just those little things on leadership and whatnot. And he's a great player. I'm really proud of how him and the whole team really stuck together this last year. It was fun to keep up with them as they battled a different type of season, but finished on a great note.
You know, Matt, we talked to Cody, and he was telling us about running 120 plays in one practice. You have experienced, that now being in Philadelphia. How is that up-tempo offense, and how was the transition for you into that offense?
I think the biggest transition for me was the footwork and just learning the timing of being in the gun on every play. And the concept, the passing concept, the running game, when it comes down to it, football is football. But the icing on the cake, the way we don't huddle and the signals and just getting the ball out quickly, it's the little things that took the adjusting to. But for the most part, it's a great offense to be a part of. The plays really all make sense. With how Chip calls things and the progression of his play calling, I think he's one of the top play callers in the league.
Well, for those that don't know, Matt is a tech geek, I think an unabashed tech geek. And I heard, Matt, you're going to NAB in Las Vegas, that's like the world's largest tech expo, and you're covering it for NFL Network. Is that all true? And what do you have your eye on as you head to Vegas? That's right. The NFL Network reached out to me to go with them as a correspondent to cover NAB. It's the largest business-to-business media, electronics, film show. It's going to be pretty awesome to be a part of. And I'm just going for a day or two to film some footage of different companies, interviews, show fans what kind of the future of football will be like from a media technology standpoint. 4K television has kind of been the big thing lately, and we have some other things in store, but I'm excited to kind of branch out and do something that still fits along the lines of football, but is, again, a passion of mine with technology and all those gadgets.
Hey, Matt, we're out of time, but I got a 5-second question for you. What are those boards that Chip Kelly holds up on the sideline mean? That's all I want to know.
Ooh, that'd be asking like the CIA. What are they doing right now?
All right, buddy.
All right, Matt Barkley, thank you so much. Hopefully enjoying his off-season out here in sunny Southern California before he heads back to the chilly city of brotherly love. We'll be watching you on Sundays, as always. Thanks so much, Matt. Coming back to wrap Trojans Live on KFWB.
Mayhem is everywhere.
I'm an over-enthusiastic football fan. We just beat one of the worst teams, but I'm walking out of the stadium celebrating like we just wrapped up a perfect season. I'm so blind with excitement, I don't notice when I step into traffic and you have to swerve to miss me. So get Allstate, where agents help keep you protected from mayhem, like me.
Start protecting yourself from mayhem. In Orange, call Allstate agent Henry Morales today.
Are you in good hands?
Valvoline Instant Oil Change is the home of the drive-through oil change. They understand you're busy and have a lot to get done in a day. You're a Trojan and have places to be. That is why at Valvoline Instant Oil Change, you drive in, not even getting out of your car, and drive out in about 15 minutes. As a proud sponsor of USC football, Valvoline Instant Oil Change would like to give a special deal to all the Trojan fans in Southern California. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for special offers and discounts. That's SoCalOilChange.com.
You'll always find fresh values at Subway, where this March, we've got two favorites as our featured values. The much-loved meatball marinara continues as our featured $5 footlong. Try it with peppers and melty mozzarella along with our signature marinara sauce. And don't miss the better-for-you Black Forest ham, our $3 6-inch select. On freshly baked bread with your choice of veggies like crunchy cucumbers. Get them both all month long as our March featured values. Subway. Eat fresh.
Limited time only plus tax. Prices and participation may vary. Prices higher in Alaska and Hawaii. Additional charge for extras.
Hey, Trojans fans. LG Electronics, official electronics partner of USC Athletics and proud partner of the NCAA, wants to help you do game day right with LG's full suite of home electronics, home appliances, and mobile products. You can't miss. So call up your friends, get the food ready, and put the game on. Visit LG.com for great offers on all LG products. With LG, it's all possible.
Back to wrap up Trojans Live at the Lab. Jordan Moore, John Jackson, and JJ. What's that like? You go into that first NFL season, everything's so rushed. You get to that second NFL season. You think that'll help? Everything will settle down for him, and he really gets to focus on being a pro.
The second is much easier than the first. I mean, he's accustomed to the speed and the players and the camaraderie. So, yeah, Matt will be much better in his second year. There's so much to learn in the NFL, but he is definitely going in the right direction.
Well, hopefully we'll be much better in the second year. Tonight is our final Trojans live show of the school year. Thanks to everyone at KFWB for all their help, including Andy Ludlam, Bill Nesbitt, Michael Stark, and Aaron Wright. Tonight's on-site engineer, Rick Cutler. Studio producer is Michael Stark. Director of Broadcast Operations is Ann Beebe. The executive producer of Trojans Live is Dan Schell. Trojans Live is your place to hear it first from USC coaches and athletes. It will be so in the fall. We will be back to talk Trojan football in August. Until then, enjoy spring ball. We'll see you at the Coliseum, and fight on.
You've been listening to Trojans Live, brought to you by
BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Visit SoCalBMW.com today to find a BMW center near you. By Valvoline, charge on, but visit Valvoline Instant Oil Change first. Home of the drive-through only change, and proud sponsor of USC football. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for special discounts and offers. By Allstate Insurance, mayhem is everywhere. Start protecting yourself from mayhem with Allstate Insurance. By Western Exterminator, providing all-star termite and pest control you can trust for over 90 years. Western Exterminator, the final word in pest control.
Trojans Live is an exclusive presentation of Fox Sports West and USC Sports Properties on KFWB News Talk 980.